They've actually buffed the throwing knives, and they're going to be very interesting to use now, and we got some new massive features in DMZ. We're going to be covering all that and more in this rapid style video, that way you can quickly watch this and get right back into game with no waste of time. If you're new here and want to keep fully up to date, make sure you unlock the subscribe button. They fixed one of the most annoying issues we've ever seen in DMZ. This coming from Infinity Ward over on Twitter. We've just released an update to address the following. Fix an issue causing some players to lose inventory when using the final exfil in DMZ. When Season 2 launched, if you were on Al Mazrah and you took the final exfil, you almost always lost everything in your entire inventory. You lost your tier 3 plate, your insured weapons. It pretty much acted like you had died. You even lost your exfil streak. Nothing's more annoying than playing a 30-minute long game, having a ton of loot, having your tier 3, having everything on you, then getting to the exfil, successfully completing the exfil, going back to the main menu, and it's like, oh yeah, you lost everything. So they fixed that, and I'm glad that got fixed right away. Hopefully we never see an issue like that in DMZ again. And they finally talked about the bots once again. DMZ difficulty fixes. Address an issue in DMZ that caused reinforcements to keep appearing. Address an issue that added tier 3 enemies in unintended areas. So what this means is after the Season 2 update, there were areas that kept spawning bots after the bot should have stopped. And there was areas where you were finding tier 3 enemies where there shouldn't have been tier 3 enemies. This has now been fixed, and if you load into play DMZ, you're not going to have these issues anymore. However, the bots are still going to be extremely strong. There's a different issue going on with the bots where they've been buffed with Season 2 when they were supposed to be nerfed, and we head over the Trello board, you can see that they're working on this. DMZ known issues. We're investigating reports of unusual AI combatant behavior, including increased damage at range and large number of reinforcements. This issue hasn't been fixed yet, so if you're getting down by bots way quicker and they're shooting you at a way farther range than what they did in Season 1, that's a bug. They're still working on getting that fixed, and I'll keep you guys updated when that eventually does get fixed. They also fixed the exfilling issue with the new DLC weapons. This is what it says. Release an update that allows players to unlock the Season 2 weapons through extraction in DMZ. The way that DMZ is supposed to work is if you exfil with an item you don't own, you're supposed to unlock it. It wasn't working like that at the launch of Season 2 for the new DLC weapons, but I just went and tested. If you go to the Battle Pass, you can see I don't have the ISO Hemlock blueprint, and I haven't unlocked the ISO Hemlock base weapon. But if we go to weapons, I go to Mega Class, and I go to Assault Rifles, I can equip this weapon. That's because I had a friend drop it for me, and I exfilled with it in DMZ, so now I have it fully unlocked, and this is going to work for all the new DLC weapons. If you have a friend with the knives, you're now able to go in DMZ, exfil with it, it's going to automatically unlock. Same thing with the shotgun. There's a brand new feature that was added to DMZ for Season 2 that I'm just finding out about, and this is a big feature we've been asking for a long time. In Season 1 of DMZ, if you crashed, if you got disconnected from the server, or if you backed out of the game, all of the items that were on your person just disappeared. No one was able to get them. Nothing happened with those items. But now in Season 2 of DMZ, if you crash, if you back out of the game, or you get disconnected in some way, shape, or form, all of the items on your person drop to the floor. We tested it in two different scenarios. One, I had my friend back out and you can see all their items drop. In the other scenario, I had them force close their game, and as you can see, the items still dropped on the ground. The reason this is important, if you're playing with a squad of people and one of your friends get disconnected or something happens and they get kicked out of the game, you can now go recover their items, and you can use those items to help you exfil, and you can even take some of those items and bring them in for them the next game. If they have their insured weapon on them, you can take it to them. If they had a key item for a mission on their person that you needed to finish a mission, you can now take that and exfil. And if you're hunting down an enemy team, sometimes players would leave before they went down just to make sure you couldn't get their items. Now they can't do that. If they leave the game, their items are still going to drop on the floor, and they can't make them just despawn out of nowhere. This was tweeted by Infinity Ward today. We're investigating why killcams are disabled in some game modes. If you've played regular multiplayer since Season 2 launched, you've noticed that a lot of times killcams just aren't showing up. They're aware of this issue, and hopefully it's going to get fixed soon, so don't be surprised if you don't see killcams. Now, unfortunately for Season 2, Building 21 all got the update we hoped wouldn't end up happening. To get into Building 21, you need Building 21 access keycards, and you can store these in your inventory. In Season 1, you only ever needed to have one of these. If you had one Building 21 access keycard, you could use it unlimited times. If you went in and died, didn't matter. It didn't end up using the keycard. These are now single use. I tested it out earlier today since Building 21 is now live. If you go into Building 21, and even if you exfil, doesn't matter if you exfil, doesn't matter if you die, it's gonna use that card. So I currently have 6 entrances to Building 21, and after that, I'm gonna have to farm more to be able to go back. They did, however, make it easier to get these key cards. You can buy them from buy stations, and they seem to be spawning more commonly than what they did previously, but it does kind of suck. There was nights where I would just constantly go into Building 21, just having a good time screwing around because I like that map a lot. And yeah, that's going to burn a lot of key cards. There's times where I go into Building 21 30 or 40 times, and that's just probably never going to be possible again with the way it works unless something changes. Yesterday, they released additional updates that were part of the Season 2 patch that got left off, and some of this stuff's really interesting for DMZ and Warzone, so we're going to go through it really quickly. There were some bugs with the countdown timer if you're out of bounds. Those have been fixed. Field upgrade and bug fixes. Fix an issue with the deployable cover would not deploy on surfaces with broken glass shards. Fix an issue causing the inflatable decoy to float in air when deployed on water surfaces and certain maps. Fix an issue causing the inflatable decoy to destroy itself when activated underwater near shallow water. Fix an issue with the portable radar reticle not always appearing immediately when activated. Fix a number of issues causing some players to get stuck after deploying a recon drone in certain areas. Fix an exploit where players could farm XP with a suppression mine. Killstreak bug fixes. Fix an issue where using a care package had a small chance of kicking players back to the main menu. Fix an issue causing some killstreak target markers to appear on eliminated enemies in modes that had a revive feature. Fix an issue where players with the Juggernaut active were still able to use killstreaks PC only. Fix an issue where some players who picked up the drop Juggernaut minigun would drop it automatically when running over a weapon they currently have in their inventory. Fix an issue allowing players to earn a second MGB in round-based modes. That's the nuke. Fix an issue causing the mortar strike marker to return to an incorrect point when targeting a location through a window. Fix an issue preventing precision airstrike markers from being placed on a water surface. Fix an issue allowing vehicles operated by a squad member to drive through a player's sentry gun to hide it from view. That one's really clever. I didn't know that existed, but I can imagine in DMZ a sentry gun hiding inside of a vehicle, and then you go by and you just get demolished and you didn't know it was there. Didn't see anyone do that, but apparently that was possible. Fix an issue allowing players to deploy a sentry gun in prohibited spaces. Fix an issue preventing players from canceling out of deploying a sentry gun while parachuting. Fix an issue allowing players to deploy a sentry gun in out-of-bounds areas. Fix an issue causing the VTOL jet to ignore targeted enemies when they're in a vehicle. Now this is where things start to really heat up. Gameplay changes. Exfil helicopter. The heavy chopper that squads exfil with upon winning a match will now use the cosmetic vehicle skin of the highest scoring squad member. So if you're playing Battle Royale and your squad wins, it's going to take the member on your team who has the most amount of score, and that heavy chopper that comes in is going to have the skin on that they have equipped. As soon as I read this, I'm like, that's an awesome feature. I'm glad they did this, but this needs to be in DMZ. They should do the same thing, but whoever calls in the exfil, when the heavy chopper comes in, it should have the vehicle skin they have equipped. There's tons of cool heavy chopper skins that you're able to earn in this game. Some of them you can even earn by doing DMZ missions. But in DMZ, there's no way to use these skins. And since they removed the heavy chopper from Warzone, there's no way to use any of those skins. The only way you can use these skins is by playing Ground War in the main series game. So hopefully they make this change for DMZ as well. Attachment UI. Players will now see the attachments for their active loadout weapons highlighted in yellow on the weapon silhouette located on the bottom right of the UI. This is kind of cool. The icon that shows up when you swap weapons now is also going to show you what attachment the weapon has on. This could be kind of useful for DMZ and Warzone. If you pick a weapon off an enemy and you don't know if he's got good attachments on it, you can kind of swap back and forth and see the attachments here and get kind of a good idea of what they got running on this and whether or not it's actually worth using. We've got updates to equipment, Simtex and drill charges. These will now down a player with maximum armor plates equipped if they stick directly to their body. So if you're playing Battle Royale or DMZ, if you stick someone with a drill charge or a Simtex, it doesn't matter. No matter what, it's going to down them, even if they're fully plated up. Throwing knives. These will down a player with maximum armor plates equipped if it hits their head or upper torso. So now there's a modifier for the throwing knife. You're going to be doing more damage if you hit them in the upper torso or the head. And once again, doesn't matter if they've got full maxed out armor, it's going to insta down them. When I read this, I got really excited because I thought this meant that if you throw a throwing knife at a bot in the face, it's also going to down them. This only applies to real players. If you find a bot in DMZ, you get the throwing knife, throw it directly in their face. It's yeah, they're not going to go insta down. You're going to have to throw a second throwing knife. Hopefully that's a bug and hopefully that gets fixed. I don't think tier 3 bots should have more health than an actual player that's fully armored up, but you know, that's how it currently is in game. We've also got some DMZ specific changes. In solo queue, a player can now self-revive if assembled squad members are down. AI combatant threat generated by recon and bomb drones have been reduced by 85%. Bug fixes. Fix an issue causing the heartbeat sensor battery to reset after being dropped on the ground and picked up again. Fix an issue that prevented loadout drops from remaining stable on train platforms. And with that, guys, we're going to go ahead and wrap this one up. I know this video was all over the place. We got different information for all these different modes, but I wanted to keep you fully informed. And if you want to continue staying fully informed, make sure you unlock that subscribe button and tell me what out of all the changes here you're most excited for.